Secretary Ed Miliband in London. But we are here in Copenhagen, Denmark, where more than 15,000 participants from 190 countries are taking part in the two-week climate change summit. On Sunday, Democracy Now! Producers Mike Burke and Elizabeth Press spoke to a number of delegates, activists, and journalists from Africa about how climate change is impacting the world's second-largest continent.
My name is Chikondi Juma. I'm from Malawi. I'm a journalist. I work with a private radio station called Capital FM. Yeah, Malawi being a developing country, it is affected in many ways. It is an agro-based economy. So because of the changes in climatic conditions, most of the times we don't have adequate rains, or sometimes we have too much of it, and we have droughts and floods, and also health conditions. There's a lot of mosquitoes, so malaria cases go up. So I would believe that the United States and the other countries, all the rich countries, they need to do something, because like a poor country like Malawi, I don't think there's nothing that we can do. We want to get developed, but we can't, because we are affected by climate change. I believe the rich countries can do something by either reducing the emissions and, of course, providing some money for developing countries to also put up some adaptation measures and the mitigation measures for this climate change thing.
I'm Titus Dlamini. I'm from Swaziland. I'm here in my capacity as the country's coordinator in matters of management of protected areas under the Convention of Biological Diversity. The impacts of climate change will not discriminate whether you're in Swaziland or anywhere else, whether you're a small country or a big country, whether you have contributed in a small way or in a significant way. One way or the other, the impact will be felt. So we felt that it's important that we come and our voice is heard, and we're part of the discussions that are seeking to come up with.
Yeah, my name is Samuel Naikada, and I'm from Kenya. I have come here for the conference for climate change. I'm actually from an indigenous group called the Maasai's people, who are the people who are actually depending on forests and livestock. So we are here as indigenous people to also try and see what actually the government are going to pass in terms of the various sectors which are being discussed in climate change. We are experiencing a lot of drought, and our livestock are dying, and people are really also dying, and there's no sufficient food, there's no water, there's a whole problem of health. There are so many diseases coming up, and being people who depend on forests and livestock, we have a lot of problem because we depend on herbs from the forest, we depend on honey from the forest. They are not there anymore because the whole climate's really changed everything.
My name is Eunice Oniboku. I'm from Nigeria. I'm representing an NGO and have come to attend the COP15. I'm a teacher. I have a school in Nigeria, and I've actually been organizing talks and meetings in local areas, in villages, so that because the children are the leaders of tomorrow, and we need to start to carry them along with us now. Let them know what climate change is, because like we all know that climate change will affect everybody. Either you are a man, a woman, you are young, you are old, you know, there's no exception. It's a global issue which needs a local solution. So you look at Niger Delta now, we are talking about, the pollution of the water. Most of the people there, they are fishermen, and you see with the oil spill, we are having a lot of water has been polluted. Then you look at the Bar Beach, for example, you see the ocean surge. A lot of people have been displaced. And you look at areas like in the north, there's a lot of encroachments of deserts. And this is affecting, both food production, when you look at that aspect of security, then even the health aspect of it, you have a lot of people dying of droughts, because there's no enough water, for even the camels, the animals like the cows, and it's really affecting food security and production.
Yeah, I'm Yinka DME. I come from Ethiopia. I work for the United Nations. Hopefully something will come up around adaptation, around mitigation, around finance, around technology transfer for Africa. Because by 2050 or so, we are told that many coastal cities in African countries may disappear. So we are not we are not about to just sit tight and let this happen without a fight.
I'm Timothée Kagombe from Cameroon. In Africa, and particularly in Cameroon, my country, the most problem we have is the problem of poverty. We don't have a lot of money to fight against, to mitigate the effect of climate change. So we need something good to help us to fight against the effects of climate change.
My name is Isabella Masinde. I come from Kenya. I work for an NGO known as African Wildlife Foundation, but I have been asked by the Kenyan government to come here as an advisor, a technical advisor on climate change. And one of the issues that we feel must be addressed by this meeting is the issue of adaptation, compensating the African nations to be able to adapt to the effects of climate change, because Africa has done very little to cause this problem. So we feel that the developed nations who are responsible for causing most of the global warming should support African countries so that they can adapt to the effects of climate change. But when we had drought last year in Kenya, prolonged drought, people had to move to places where they thought they could find grazing lands for their livestock. People had to move to places where they could find water, because most of the traditional water sources dried up. So they have to be pushed to other places. Either the species have to move high up in the mountains, and also people move, trying to do farming in places where they are not supposed to, like on the hilltops. So that creates environmental refugees. When the droughts ended, the floods set in. And now these floods also cause environmental refugees, because people have to move from lower grounds to higher grounds. And then that causes conflicts, because there are already people who claim that these places belong to them.
African delegates, journalists, observers coming into the UN Climate Change Conference on Sunday, coming to get their credentials, waiting outside because of a bomb threat. Well, actually, it was a suitcase that people were concerned no one had claimed. That took hours of people standing outside. So Democracy Now!'s Elizabeth Press and Mike Burke used the opportunity to speak to some of the hundreds of people who had gathered there.